Right, welcome to today's video, ladies and gents, joined by, of course, Jasper. This one's very fitting because, as you can probably tell, we're doing Chaos Walking, and they had their very own Border Terrier, which I'm probably a little bit biased here. I actually had a pretty good time with this film, actually, as did Jasper, Lord of House H. So, today we're going to talk non-spoilers, and then we'll get into spoilers with fair warning. So this is an interesting film because it's done by Doug Liman, or at least directed by Doug Liman, who was the chap behind The Edge of Tomorrow, or Live, Die, Repeat, the film which has many, many titles and was supposedly getting a sequel. It's essentially about an alien planet, a new colony, a new Earth, new world, actually is what they call it, where the men have experienced, essentially, there's some kind of brainwave pattern on this planet that allows only men, all of their thoughts come out as this substance called the noise. It physically sort of manifests itself. It's actually a really fascinating concept. Now, as much as I enjoyed this film, I feel like it could have delved into that concept quite a lot more. And I do know it's adapted from a book called The Knife of Never Letting Go. And I think to myself, well, I don't know the book, but is it a clean-cut adaptation? Because if so, then I feel like the book may, be lacking. They could have explored an awful lot more. But anyway, essentially, crash down, lands on this planet, Daisy Ridley's character Viola, and interacts with our character Todd Hewitt, played by Tom Holland and Daisy Ridley. Now, this is fascinating because on this planet in, I think it's Princetown, I think was the name. This certain settlement where Todd Hewitt is, anyway, there are no women. There are no women. The native life form, the spackle, killed off all the women, or so we're led to believe. And basically it's a race against time for Todd Hewitt to help Daisy Ridley back to her ship. She needs to contact her ship for some reason. Non-spoilers, I can't really get into any spoilers about this. So, interesting concept. I feel like it could have delved into it an awful lot more. And one of the first things I noticed about this film was the sound mixing of the noise. Now, this substance, the men's thoughts, is actually really important to this film because it's played for comedic effect. It's played for quite emotionally racking moments, actually. And in the intro to this film, I could only tell myself, my God, I got to turn this up. Like I had to turn it up and 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 up. And I had to just deal with the fact that the rest of the film was going to be really, really loud because the sound mixing on this very, very important thing wasn't that loud. And I don't know why they did that. And that's a shame. Now, this film was actually getting slammed all over the place. So I'm just going to openly say it. I'm probably in the minority for those that enjoyed this film. And, it's not perfect. It's lacking for what it... For the potential it has, it's lacking, right? Like, you look at it and you go, oh, they could have done an awful lot more with this. But it doesn't mean I didn't enjoy what they presented. What they presented was fine. Like, I enjoyed it for what it was. It was actually a pretty feel-good movie. But I don't know. I didn't watch any of the trailers. It just came up on my Amazon Prime and I was like, well, I'll rent that and have a look. And I don't know whether the trailers missold it. Because on Rotten Tomatoes, 22%. Terrible. Metacritic, 39%. Terrible. IMDb, 5.7 out of 10. Terrible. It's getting awful reviews. Not very good. So maybe I'm in the minority, but I had a good time with it. The acting's not up to par for what I would expect out of these two. I mean, Daisy Ridley, I only know her from Star Wars, so I actually expected her acting to be a lot worse. She was better in this. Still not a great actress, but seemingly improving. Tom Holland, I think he could have done more with it. But also, if he had played it up a bit too much, would he be crossing the barrier over into the sort of Peter Parker Spider-Man type? if he was a little bit too happy, a little bit too jovial. So I understand why maybe Doug Liman as a director brought him back down a peg. And this is just me assuming what happened. I don't know. So there's the sort of acting parts of it anyway. Mads Mikkelsen is in this. He's always good. You don't need to really comment on him, whether he's good or bad. He's fantastic. Demian Bichir, I believe the actor's name is, in this. Surprise, just randomly turning up. He's great. He's been in more and more things recently, and I really like him as an actor, actually. Nick Jonas is in this. Couldn't care less. Surplus to requirements. Don't care. Hate him as an actor. I think he's awful. But everyone else was serviceable to fine. And I think that's maybe where most people's issues lie. And maybe just in the fact that, you know, this world could have done an awful lot more, but didn't. And maybe that's an issue to some people. To me, it was a pretty decent film as was. The colour grading was nice. It's a really vibrant world. It doesn't look too alien. I mean, it looks just like a normal forest and a normal place on planet Earth. And I liked that. I didn't think it needed to be. I mean, it's literally called New World. There are some native life forms here. The CGI on them were a little bit of a letdown. But I didn't hate it. But I also feel like they were very misused. They were thrown in and not explored enough. So if they weren't in the film, it actually wouldn't have made any difference. I think they put them in because they felt like they should. And they didn't need to. If there's a scene with one, basically. Non-spoilers. There's a scene with one. And if that wasn't in the film, wouldn't make a difference. Like, it would not change the film at all. So I feel like that was a wasted opportunity. But all in all, I liked it. Had a good time with it. It's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. Definitely not worth the price of rental on Amazon Prime. It's like $15.99. Not worth that. It's not worth that at all. Not as a rental anyway. But as it stands, any film that has a Border Terrier in, I'm all ears. Because I'm biased, because I love them as a breed. They're a very cute dog. And I will say there's heart-wrenching scenes in this film. Heart-wrenching scenes. Now, like I said, the noise as a concept, great. They fleshed it out okay. Some of it's used to great effect, some of it isn't. But I enjoyed it for what it was. Can recommend. Don't recommend you rent it. I recommend you wait until it's available for quite a lot cheaper. This is like a $5, £5 sort of movie that you would just come across on Amazon Prime and rent out. I wouldn't mind seeing this on a big screen. I think the effects on the big screen would be good. There's some notable effects right towards the end, which I thought were actually really well done for what they were. Which is surprising, because the effects of the natives were not good. So when I compare the two of them, I'm thinking, well, what the hell happened there? But all in all, would recommend, just not at the price tag. So if you have watched it, let me know what you think down below. But now let's get into spoilers. You've been warned. I just want to touch on some brief spoilers. Nothing major. Nothing major. So, but you've been warned. So just leave if you don't want to. But hit subscribe on your way out. So let's talk spoilers, right? The twists and turns of this film were, you could see coming a mile off. Like, not a surprise at all. The moment Mads Mikkelsen is like, yep, terrible war with the native spackles and they killed all of our women. I was like, yeah, obviously not. Like, obviously not. Come on, behave. Who is thinking this? But I don't think that was necessary either. I feel like they didn't set that up as a twist. I think that was so patently obvious that they just left it there because it adds to the sense of unease anyway. Because you go, well, that's clearly wrong. So I think anyone going into it thinking that that was a twist, I could be wrong, but I just don't think that was actually a twist. I think it was very, very obvious, and I think they knew it was obvious. Again, I may be just giving them too much credit, but whatever. Like I was going back to in non-spoilers talking about this native scene, that was completely redundant. I don't know why they did that. It would have cost them quite a lot of money to do that as well, and it was just really lacking. I don't understand why they had that in the film. Like, it just didn't serve any purpose. Which is a shame, to be honest. But I didn't hate it. It was nice to see what they were talking about. And maybe that's the purpose of it. But towards the end, the massive ship, like, dug into the ground and stuff like that, that was great. The effects on that was really, really good. And that's what I mean. When I compare that Like, all the way back to that goddamn native alien thing. And I'm like, well, what happened? Did you hire someone else? Like, what happened with the effects? Because both are CG. One's obviously, you know, green screened in and something like that. But there wasn't consistency with the effects, which was a shame. Doggo died. Was not expecting that. That was awful. That was awful. And Jasper, God rest his little soul, wherever he's gone. Oh, he's literally at my feet. And Jasper was at the end of my bed watching this. Terrible. I did not like watching that. Oh, because it literally looks exactly like my dog. And I was like, this is awful. Awful. Not good. Not good. But I'm glad they went there with it as well. I am glad they went there, because that could have come across as... Yeah, I don't know. I think something like that, you needed that kind of pivotal moment in the film, that sort of gut-wrencher. Because up until then, yeah, I felt quite a lot for these characters. Not like loads, but I felt enough. And I think that tipped it over the edge. That's where I was like, yeah, you fucked that guy up, like, seriously. Anyway, let me know what you think. That's my review. I can't strongly recommend it, because the price of it was insane. But I had a good time with it. If you've got 15 quid spare to rent it, watch it, I guess. But I can't strongly recommend it based on the price. It's not worth the price. I don't know if I begrudge paying to watch this in the theatre. And that's the problem. This is what I've been saying about theatres versus streaming. You begrudge it, you know, because you're at home. You're like, well, I'm literally just sat on my ass at home. When you go to the theatre, there's so much more. It's more of an experience. So I don't know. But if you watched it, let me know what you think. Again, I'm probably in the minority of those that actually enjoyed it, because a lot of people did not. Clearly did not. Critics, anyway, critics are hating it. So maybe I'm just completely wrong, which is probably right. And I probably am, let's be honest. I'm forever being told people that disagree with me nowadays, so I'm probably fucking way off the mark. But let me know what you think down below. Cheers. Take care.